Alright, we are on the play with RUG Delver, a very unkeepable hand, followed by not a fantastic keep, but it is something I will take. No lands, obviously something we're going to mulligan on a 7. 1 land, Serum Vision's not bad. Delver on top, not really something I want to be drawing with that Visions. We're really looking for a second land here. How good's Mishra's Bauble as far as second lands go? It's not the worst, that's for sure. It definitely means we're missing our second land drop, but it might help us find that land on the following turn, plus synergy with the Delver that we're probably going to play, unless I expect holding up Spell Snare to be a good move. Holding up Spell Snare is not unreasonable here, given that we do have a Thought Scour in hand. Then again, I'd like to get some pressure on board. So maybe we just want to play that Delver. We don't know what the opponent's on at all. They have a Bloodstained Mire. Not much information. Not something I think that makes it worth it to not play Delver. I don't think it's likely enough that Spell Snare comes in handy just from seeing a Bloodstained Mire. Stomping Ground, sure. That's certainly interesting. Most Bloodstained Mire decks, I would expect probably something more Grixis-ish. Looks like we're playing against a Valakut deck. Would have been nice if we had Spell Snare up there, but there's no way we would even think of that, or at least no way I would think of that. Maybe you guys are smarter. Let's bobble ourselves, hopefully showing us a land. Island, okay. Delver needs to hit the stack first so that we draw the island. Well, we found our second land, so step 1 accomplished. Delver not going to transform off of a bauble. We will play that bauble. And do we offer Delver as a trade for the Elder? I really don't think we make that attack, given that Delver's our only threat here. So I think I'm just going to pass the turn to the opponent. It's unfortunate that we miss out on 1 point of damage if they don't want to trade. But given that if they really want, they could just block and sack, I don't think we're getting that point of damage anyways. Looks like we're going to see a couple attacks from the Tribe Elder before it gets sacrificed to put us down to 18. 18 is a very good number for Scapeshift because it means they can kill you with 7 lands. No attack. Very interesting. We're going to bobble ourselves again. See what we see. Mana Leak. Fantastic. Delver's going to show us that. Bobble hits the stack first. Delver trigger. Do we want to reveal Mana Leak? I would love to reveal Mana Leak. Alright, let's get the clock on. Draw Mana Leak. Draw something else. Are they taking out Delver? Oh, okay, they're cycling. Oh, it's one of the new cycle lands. That's cool. Maybe they're digging for a bolt effect? Possible. Lightning Bolt on Delver. I don't think we want to Thought Scour away the Mana Leak. Mana Leak's likely to be pretty decent, especially because it's going to be pretty unlikely for us to scour into, say, a Stubborn Denial to counter this. So I think we're just going to let that resolve. Even though they know about the Mana Leak, I think it's still going to be pretty good. At the very least, it slows them down and forces them to respect the fact that we have a Mana Leak. We drew off the bauble, waiting for the opponent before we draw for turn. Another Spell Snare. That's going to be a pass from us. And Thought Scour on the end step seems extremely likely. It's unlikely that we need both Spell Snares or the Mana Leak or flashing in the Snapcaster Mage, although I could see flashing in the Snapcaster Mage as a reasonable play, just in case we need that pressure, but I don't think we need that pressure. I think I'd rather Thought Scour if I had the choice between the two. Okay, Goyf, now we just need a green source. We have our Haymaker. Now we draw the green source. We draw the green source. And everything works out. Stomping Ground for sure. We want to be able to cast that Tarfire at least at some point in this game. Goyf's going to come down. We're going to hold up Spell Snare. The opponent does not know about Spell Snare, which is going to make it pretty decent. They're sacrificing Tribelder now, so they actually might just go for Primetime here while we are tapped out of Mana Leak. I don't think holding up Mana Leak indefinitely is what we want to do, though. It's that accursed trade-off. Maybe just a 3-mana play? I'm really not sure. Double Anger of the Gods? Wood Elves. Okay. We're not dead yet. They are just going to get a land. Enters tapped? Nope, it does not enter tapped. That's pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Escape Shift here actually is lethal if they have it. May very well be what the opponent's doing. I do believe they run more than enough mountains for this to be okay. Looks like Escape Shift. 4 mana, probably Escape Shift. It's Escape Shift. We can't counter that. Stubborn Denial would have been great. But alas, they're going to sacrifice a bunch of lands, get a bunch more. 1 Valakut, 6 mountains. Valakut will trigger 6 times and deal 3 damage to us 6 times. Yeah, that works too. That's fine. They only technically need 5 of the mountains to enter, but they do need 6 mountains in play in addition to the Valakut, which is not a mountain. 6 Valakut triggers. Only 5 Valakut triggers? It is only 5. That's correct, yeah. It's when a mountain enters the battlefield. I was wrong just now. We're just gonna have us not have priority because I don't want to deal with that. This does put us in a position where we're not quite dead because they didn't sacrifice the 1 Stomping Ground. We're going to 1 instead. However, any mountain kills us, and we also can't use a fetch land. We're going to have to Tarfire the Wood Elves to get damage through, and also make sure it cannot kill us. We have a 3-turn clock, which might be relevant if the opponent has absolutely nothing. We're going to find out. Alright, they have something. We're going to get bolted. That's going to do it. Let's go to game 2. Begin sideboarding against Red-Green Titanshift. That's a matchup we're prepared for. Not too much sideboarding going to happen, but enough. We're taking out 1 Traverse, 1 Forked Bolt, 1 Lightning Bolt, 1 Disrupting Shoal, and 1 Dismember. 1, 2, 3, 5 cards going to come out here. We're going to look to be a little less grindy, taking out this Traverse. Dismember and Shoal not doing much against this particular deck, and we're just going to try to clock and disrupt them a bit. Destructive Revelry comes in case they're running Prismatic Omen. 2 Blood Moons because it's good, but they don't interact with it, so we don't want 3, I don't think. 1 Basic Mountain, and a Flash Freeze. Mountain should help speed us up a little bit, maybe cause us to take a touch less damage. And Flash Freeze is just a very nice counter against their deck. I'm not sure if I want to cut Savage Knuckleblade or possibly a Snapcaster Mage. The reason being to cut some of our top end, be a little lower to the ground, but I don't think there's anything here I actually want over those cards. So I'm just going to run this, and hopefully we do well. We're on the play. We have a couple lands, which is good. I think we're going to keep. Yeah, that looks like a keep. We're going to go turn 1, Serum Visions. Turn 2, maybe hold up Spell Snare. Blood Moon is pretty awkward in this hand. Very awkward in this hand, actually, given that I want to crack this fetch for Visions, put cards in the yard for Mandrills. You know what? We're just going to do that. We're not going to try to get Blood Moon mana. If we end up being able to play that Blood Moon reasonably, fantastic. If we can't, we can't. It's more important that we execute our game plan and disrupt theirs, which, to be fair, disrupting the opponent's game plan is definitely something that Blood Moon does. We're going to shock here, cast Serum Visions, but I'd rather go turn 1 Visions, turn 2 Spell Snare, maybe turn 2 Tarmogoyf instead. I don't think we need the third threat. Let's bottom that. Lightning Bolt could be good, probably not that great actually. Let's bottom that as well. Go over to the opponent, see what happens. Spell Snare I like in this matchup because they do have quite a few 2-drop ramp spells. But I don't know if I'd rather do that over slamming Tarmogoyf. It's a hard decision for sure. Slamming Goyf does require us to shock, but we're already below 18, so that's not a huge factor. Search for Tomorrow goes on suspend for our opponent. Stomping Ground, the draw for us, not helping us with Blood Moon. Naturally, if I knew I was going to draw it, this would have been a basic forest, but we did not know we would draw it. So, Spell Snare, Tarmogoyf. I'm leaning towards Tarmogoyf. I believe we need to get our clock down. Holding up Spell Snare, nice. However, sooner or later it's probably going to catch something from our opponent. So I don't think it's pivotal that we just hold it up right away. Our opponent did not have a 2-drop to play there. We found a Lightning Bolt, which means we're probably going to play Stomping Ground tapped and just hold up Bolt and Snare. Seems pretty good. Let's get in there for 2. Do we want to bolt the opponent and grow Goyf here? That doesn't seem so bad. It actually seems kind of good. Bolt's not likely to do much besides go to the opponent's face. It's not too bad as far as being able to deal with Sakura Tribe Elders, get them out of the way so Goyfs can connect. Mostly it deals with chump blockers or bolts the opponent's face. In this case, going at the opponent's face represented not just the 3 damage off the bolt, but also the 1 from growing the Goyf at least 1 turn early, or at least 1 attack step early. So I'm pretty happy with that. The opponent's going to get a land off of Search for Tomorrow. That's not something we can Spell Snare. We also have Vapor Snag if we really need to get a Sakura Tribe Elder off the table. Obstinate Baloth. Also technically something we could bounce, not something we really want to bounce, but something we can bounce nonetheless. Delver of Secrets, not bad. Don't think we want to be casting Blood Moon yet. Delver, hold up Spell Snare, and Vapor Snag seems like probably our best line. If we want to play Blood Moon, Goyf's gonna shrink. Let's just play the Delver, go to the opponent, continue holding up Spell Snare. We might not be able to favorably interact with, say, an Hour of Promise or a Primeval Titan, but we can at least take out some ramp. Them taking out Delver is pretty okay as far as I'm concerned, because that means Goyf gets bigger. Certainly not great, but it is okay. There's Prismatic Omen. That's going to get spell snared. Not technically a ramp spell. Does make Goyf bigger, which is something I am interested in. We might even slam Blood Moon soon. Traverse, that makes me even more excited to slam the Blood Moon. We could even traverse, get a basic forest so that we can cast Mandrills next turn. Do I want to be able to cast Mandrills next turn? I don't know. I don't know if that's important. I want to attack. I definitely want to attack. The opponent, they're not blocking. I was going to say, if they block, I want to play Blood Moon even more. I do think I want to play Mandrills, which means we are going to traverse here. Question is, Delver. Yes, let's apply pressure. The opponent didn't block, so I don't mind delving whatever. They have instant, sorcery, land, enchantment, so we're going to prioritize those card types. We'll just leave the Delver. Keep Goyf big. Go to the opponent. Next turn, if it's profitable, we're going to slam Blood Moon. 5 mana for Hour of Promise, sure. The opponent has their lands good to go, and I think this is the spot where we want a Blood Moon. I don't know what they're getting yet. Probably a Valakut and a mountain, maybe 2 Valakuts. Maybe just any 2 lands so that they can have a nice scape shift. Valakut and a mountain. Here is a Bloodstained Mire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they will be able to take out Delver. Thought Scour on top. We're going to reveal it. I would be surprised if they allow that Delver of Secrets to connect. Very surprised. They also might trade Baloth and a Valakut trigger. Nope. They're going to take out everything that is not named Tarmogoyf. Playing Blood Moon before combat, not really relevant because the opponent will just crack their fetch in response to take out Delver. So it doesn't really matter. Now, if we want, we could Vapor Snag the Baloth to get our damage in, but then they're just going to put it back down anyways. So I think we're going to make this trade, and I'm just going to lock both of us out of the game. Us more so than the opponent, but hopefully that does it. Yep, that does it. Back to the sideboard, 1-1 in this match. Match 4 of our second league. Didn't mention it. Also didn't mention it in match 3 at the beginning, but I don't think that's going to be a thing going forward because I don't want the, let's say, 26th league to be, alright guys, we're in match 1 of our 26th league. I imagine that's going to get old very quickly. Is there anything we want? Dismember looks slightly better against Baloth. Vapor Snag notably looks slightly worse. So maybe that's something we want. Vapor Snag is slightly better against Primetime, with Dismember being slightly worse against that. But I guess taking out Baloths makes more sense, since if they have a Primetime, well, we're in trouble. We also have more time to deal with Primetime coming down than we do the Baloth. Bedlam Reveler seems bad. Don't want the other Blood Moon. Pyroclasm, Ancient Grudge, Bolt, Forked Bolt. Nah. Just took that out. Their creatures are way too expensive. Shoal doesn't look good. They don't have colorless spells to my knowledge. Traverse I took out. And Huntmaster, I think a little too slow. It has life gain, which is certainly relevant. I don't think it has enough life gain. If I was playing Feed the Clan, I'd probably board that in. Flash Freeze, wherever it is basically my Feed the Clan. It's good. Feed the Clan's good against Burn and Titanshift, because those are the decks that are trying to do a limited amount of damage to you. Flash Freeze happens to be pretty good against both, and very conveniently, it's also good against a few other decks. We're going to be on the draw here, presumably. One land, Mishra's Bauble, some pressure. I'm going to keep it. We might end up just holding up Spell Snare. I'm not sure. The opponent didn't have a turn 1 play, so they probably have a turn 2 play. Makes me think holding up Spell Snare is going to be pretty advantageous. Then again, we have a Traverse the Ulvenwald, which is giving me all kinds of decision paralysis. I'm going to bauble us to see if we want to fetch. I think we do. I don't really want to draw the visions. I want lands. This hand is hungry for mana. I think we want a breeding pool here. Yup, we're going to pay 2 life. Put ourselves in a good position for scape shifts, and it hurts, but I'm going to pass the turn. Snapcaster Mage, sure. We're basically screaming that we have Spell Snare in hand. But you know what? We time-walked ourselves and they time-walked theirselves, so it's kind of fair. Let's traverse here. I'm just going to get a basic island, many blue spells in hand, and this means we can play Delver or keep holding up Spell Snare, also hold up Stubborn Denial. You know what? That doesn't seem so bad. It would seem better if we were guaranteed a 3rd land for Goyf, so we could go Goyf plus Disruption next turn. But I think I'm okay with this. It's really hard to tell, because I actively don't like it. Magic's hard. Magic is very hard. I want the pressure. I don't want them to ramp. Search for Tomorrow is something we're going to Stubborn Denial, which is nice. I'm pretty happy with being able to do that. Let's pop out the graveyards. I didn't even notice. My apologies. Goyf's a 4/5 now. Less relevant when we don't have a Stubborn Denial in hand, but still a thing. Yeah, this turn's just going to be Goyf, I think. They were probably playing the Search for Tomorrow to play around Spell Snare, probably assuming that was the 1-mana counterspell we were holding up. Oh, they don't have anything besides a land drop. That's interesting. I think I want to hold up Mana Leak. Get in there for 4. That seems at least somewhat good. Or we put down Mana Leak. They don't have any instant speed ramp. So it's not like they're going to go ramp on your end step, play Primeval Titan. So I think I'm actually just going to Visions here and then decide between Spell Snare and Delver. 3rd land, not bad. Having a red source, pretty nice. Keeping that land on top makes me more excited to hold up Spell Snare, then play Delver. Delver, just a 1/1, assuming we want to keep that Flooded Strand. Missing out on 1 damage, not the worst thing in the world. Not the best, not the worst. The opponent has their 5th land drop here. Could be an Hour of Promise, which could hurt us quite a bit. Hour of Promise it is. The opponent's going to get some lands. And you know what? We're not going to be able to Mana Leak Scapeshift. So maybe instead of Visions... Oh, and 2 Valakuts. Every mountain is now 2 Lightning Bolts. We're in a bad spot. Gonna play Flooded Strand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So, if they have Scapeshift, we're just dead. So, what can we play around besides Scapeshift? Prismatic Omen. Something we can play around. Not that that matters at all, I don't think. Definitely not at this point. Other ramp. I want to be able to counter other ramp spells, which means holding up Spell Snare, which means not using snap visions. We also need to kill the opponent as quickly as possible, so I'm going to get in there, and I think we're going to play Delver of Secrets. Seems like our best line. Not a good one, but our best one. I think. We might just be dead here, knock on wood. I feel like we're just dead here. Relic of Progenitus. It's the slow kill, killing us softly with Relic. So, here's a Farseek, and if we do decide to counter this... Oh, they don't have double green open. Fantastic. We're going to counter it. If they had double green, I probably wouldn't counter the Farseek, so that we could... Oh, they hadn't played a land drop. They hadn't played a land drop. Did I just get us killed? I think I just got us killed. Their Scapeshift. Yeah, we're dead. So we were supposed to... but if they Farseeked, does it enter tapped? It does enter tapped. Well, that'll do. So we shouldn't have countered the Farseek. We had to hold open mana for Mana Leak so that we could counter the Scapeshift. But that means they have to have land plus Scapeshift, so I think maybe you counter the Farseek anyways, just because it's so unlikely that we're beating that. I think we misplayed earlier in the game, but I think I like how we did that turn. That's enough triggers to make me want to scoop. That's going to be the end of match 4. Unfortunately, not for us. The league started off very nicely with these 2-2-0s. We're not doing quite as well in the previous 2 matches. Hopefully we're going to bring it back for match 5. Should be exciting. I hope to see you there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.